Imagine this. You're writing an email and instead of thinking, you open ChatGPT. You're studying and instead of struggling through a difficult concept, you ask ChatGPT to explain it. You're coding, writing, brainstorming, researching, planning. Every time your brain encounters friction, there's now a button that removes it. And honestly, that's amazing. But there's one question almost nobody is asking. What happens to your attention when thinking becomes optional? Not intelligence, not memory, attention. Because attention is the foundation of everything else, and if LLMs are quietly changing the way we pay attention, they might be changing how we think altogether. When most people hear the word attention, they imagine focusing, but neuroscientists think of attention differently. Attention is your brain's way of deciding what deserves mental energy. Every second, your eyes receive millions of bits of information, your ears hear countless sounds, and your brain receives signals from every part of your body. Yet you experience only a tiny fraction of it. Attention is the filter. It's your brain saying, this matters, ignore that, and focus here. Without attention, memory doesn't happen, learning doesn't happen, and even intelligence can't fully express itself. Because before your brain can understand something, it first has to pay attention to it. Think about how we solved problems 10 years ago. You searched Google, you opened 5 websites, maybe watched a YouTube video, maybe asked a friend, compared answers, and the process itself required attention. Today, you type one sentence, and 5 seconds later, a published answer appears. No searching, no comparing, no uncertainty, and your brain loves this. Why? Because uncertainty is mentally expensive. Your brain tries to minimize effort whenever possible, and psychologists call this cognitive offloading. Instead of solving the problem ourselves, we outsource part of the thinking. And actually, we've always done this. Maps, calculators, calendars, and even writing itself. LLMs are simply the most powerful cognitive tool we've ever built. The difference is that calculators replaced arithmetic, but LLMs can replace reasoning itself. Here's something fascinating. Your brain weighs only about 2% of your body, yet it consumes roughly about 20% of your energy. Thinking is expensive. Deep concentration is expensive. Making decisions is expensive. And your brain's constantly asking, can someone else do this for me? Before LLMs, the answer was usually no, but now the answer is often yes. Need an explanation? ChatGPT. Need a summary? ChatGPT. Need code? ChatGPT. Need feedback? ChatGPT. Your brain learns something. I don't need to stay engaged for long. Not because you're lazy, but because your brain's adapting. Something interesting happens when every question has an instant answer. Curiosity becomes shorter, and instead of wondering, we verify. Instead of wrestling with confusion, we eliminate it immediately. And of course, instead of exploring, we prompt. But here's the irony. Confusion is often where learning begins, and educational psychology constantly shows that desirable difficulty, small amounts of struggle, actually improves long-term learning. The moments we usually try to escape are actually the moments our brain grows the most. LLMs remove friction, and that's their biggest strength, but friction also trains attention. Researchers are still trying to understand the long-term effects of LLMs. Obviously, we don't have decades of evidence, but we can learn from related research. Studies on GPS navigation found that people who rely on GPS too heavily develop weaker mental maps of their surroundings. Calculator dependence can reduce mental arithmetic skills if people never practice them. Search engines changed how people remember information. Instead of remembering facts, people became better at remembering where to find them. Psychologists call this Google effect or digital amnesia. LLMs may represent the next step. Instead of remembering information or remembering where to find it, we may begin remembering how to ask for it. Prompting becomes a skill, reasoning becomes optional, and whether that's good or bad depends entirely on how we use these tools. Honestly, this video isn't about fearing AI because LLMs are incredible. They help people learn faster, they reduce repetitive work, and they can even make experts more productive. The goal isn't to avoid AI, it's to avoid becoming passive while using it. Because passive users ask for answer and active users ask for understanding. Passive users copy and active users challenge and think alongside the AI. The same tool, but completely different outcomes. So, how to actually use LLMs without weakening your attention? A few simple habits. First, think before prompting. Spend 2 or 3 minutes trying to solve the problem yourself. Second, ask the AI to question you instead of answering immediately and turn it into a teacher. Third, don't accept the first answer and challenge it. Ask why and ask for evidence. And finally, keep doing things that required uninterrupted focus. Reading books, writing, programming, learning new languages, and solving difficult problems. Your attention works like a muscle. If everything becomes effortless, that muscle slowly weakens. So maybe LLMs aren't destroying your attention, and maybe they're revealing something that has always been true. Our brains naturally choose the easiest path, and AI made that path incredibly easy. The real question isn't, will AI make us less intelligent? It's this: will we still choose to think when thinking is no longer required? Because the future probably won't belong to people who reject AI. It also won't belong to people who let AI think for them. It will belong to the people who know exactly when to use AI and when not to. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.